Anyone who's ever met a ghost knows this. When a person is down on their luck and utterly cursed with bad fortune, they must never walk alone on a dark night. At those times, your yang energy is weak and your yin energy is overpowering. Perfect conditions for running into ghosts. This story was told to me by my grandfather. In their generation, villages rarely had proper barber shops. Instead, itinerant barbers carried heavy loads on shoulder poles and went door to door. Lu Chang was the most famous barber of our area back then. Though he was only in his early 20s, his skill was unmatched. It had been passed down through generations of his family. Every household wanted him to cut their hair, and even little kids sat perfectly still for him without crying or fussing. Despite his young age, Lu Chang understood the saying, to taste the bitterest of the bitter to become the best among men. Every day he walked more than 30 li, about 15 kilometers, with his heavy load. One day, after finishing his last job, giving Grandma Wang a haircut, it was already dark. Grandma Wang warmly invited him to stay for dinner, but Lu Chang declined. His elderly mother was waiting at home, and to save time he decided to take a secluded shortcut instead of the main road. He had walked that path a few times during the day, but for some reason that night, a village suddenly appeared ahead of him. The village had no lights and was eerily quiet. Lu Chang was puzzled. Since when was there a village here? Had he taken a wrong turn in the dark? Just as he was wondering, an old man called out to him. Lu Chang turned and saw a stranger. The old man very politely invited him to his house to give haircuts. Lu Chang tried to refuse, but the old man was so insistent that he couldn't get away. Thinking he could finish quickly, just a few minutes, he followed the old man into a large courtyard compound. Only then did Lu Chang notice that the courtyard walls were full of broken holes, and the ground had them too. He had no idea what they were for. As soon as he put down his load, the old man shouted toward the house, "Call everyone out." One by one, more than a dozen people, old and young, came out of the rooms. Lu Chang was shocked, and the people looked reluctant, almost as if they were being forced forward by the old man. This was the first time Lu Chang had ever seen anything like it. After collecting himself, he asked what kind of hairstyles they wanted. To his surprise, the old man replied, "No matter the age, shave every single one completely bald." Although Lu Chang found it very strange, it was the customer's request, so he did as he was told. He worked through the entire household of more than a dozen people, shaving head after head, and only finished when the sky began to lighten at dawn. When he packed up his tools and asked if they were satisfied, he noticed that all the newly bald people looked furious and unwilling, glaring at him angrily. The old man brushed it off, saying, "Don't mind them," and took out some money from his pocket as payment for the hard work. When Lu Chang reached out to take it, he froze. The old man had given him several pieces of broken gold and silver. Lu Chang had never seen anything so valuable. It was worth several months of his usual earnings. He tried to refuse, but the old man insisted, and in the end Lu Chang accepted. The old man personally walked him to the gate. Lu Chang picked up his load and set off on the path home, thinking he could finally rest properly when he got back. By the time he left the village, the sun was fully up. Not far down the road, he ran into Zhang Wu from the neighboring village, a regular customer. "Hey, isn't that Lu Chang? Out awfully early today, aren't you?" Lu Chang smiled and told him about how he'd been delayed the night before giving haircuts in the village up ahead. Zhang Wu looked completely baffled. "What village? There's no village there." Seeing that Zhang Wu didn't believe him, and since it wasn't far, Lu Chang turned around to point it out. But the moment he looked back, he stood rooted to the spot. The village he had just walked out of had vanished. In its place was nothing but wilderness. Refusing to accept it, Lu Chang dropped his load and ran back to where the village had been. When he arrived, he was dumbfounded. Just as Zhang Wu had said, the area was nothing but a desolate graveyard. The tombstones were broken and decayed, and the holes in the ground matched exactly the ones he had seen in the courtyard walls the night before. As he stood there in shock, something crawled out of one of the holes. Its eyes were red. When it fully emerged, Lu Chang saw it was a rabbit. Completely hairless, not a single strand of fur on its body. Zhang Wu stared at it too, then suddenly said, "That rabbit's fur has all been shaved off." That one sentence jolted Lu Chang. Could it be that the people he had shaved bald last night were actually these rabbits? In a panic, he reached into his pocket to check the payment the old man had given him. He expected the gold and silver fragments to have turned into stones or leaves, like in typical ghost stories, but they were unchanged, still real gold and silver. Zhang Wu's eyes nearly popped out when he saw them. Even working from dawn till dusk, Lu Chang could never earn that much in such a short time. Lu Chang muttered, "That courtyard last night, this was payment for shaving those rabbits' heads." Looking at the wilderness riddled with rabbit burrows, it seemed the residents of those graves had hired Lu Chang to punish the rabbits for digging up their homes by having all their fur shaved off. And that, my grandfather said, is the end of the story.